Hi, this is Priyanka Chopra and you're watching Channel Y.
The biggest South Asian media group, Y Media.
Y Media Group, established in 2001, is a media company with a 360-degree approach in reaching our audience over 5 platforms: television, radio, newspaper, online news portal, and mobile app.
Y Media has newspaper, midweek, radio, South Asian pop.
Hi, I'm Amitabh Bachchan, and you're listening to South Asian Pulse.
Hi, this is Amir Khan, and you're listening to South Asian Pulse.
अब हर दिन सुने GTA का number 1 radio station FM 91.9.
All English 24/7 television network and Y Media Plus.
You are watching Channel Y. Channel Y.
Prime Minister, welcome.
It's a pleasure to be here. It's a pleasure to be back.
Online, SouthAsianDaily.com. The biggest South Asian media group, Y Media.
Hello everyone, welcome to Y Media Group. I am your host Shelly Saini, and joining me today is a renowned and trustworthy real estate person. He has been a motivational speaker and a radio show host. He is the president of The Simple Investor, Todd C. Slater. Welcome, Mr. Slater.
Thank you, Shelly. I'm wonderful, thank you, and thank you for having me on today.
Tell us more about The Simple Investor. What is it about?
Thank you. You know, it was something that came up many years ago. As a realtor, I started doing a lot of power of sales back in the late 90s and early 2000s with the banks. And one of the things that I learned was that a lot of times when a house went power sale, the tenant still had the money, but the landlord wasn't getting paid. And so I started thinking, well, this doesn't seem right. If the tenant can buy a brand new car, have the biggest TV, why aren't they paying rents? And it was because the landlords didn't know what to do. They didn't know the process that's involved in being a landlord. So I started thinking, well, that's not fair. And so after all of those years of dealing with it, I decided that it would be best to start a company that allows people to benefit from the ownership of investment real estate, but they just don't have to manage it. And hence the reason why the Simple Investor became part of the I guess one of the greatest crazes of owning investment real estate, but most importantly, you don't have to manage it when you're with our program.
So how can people be part of your program? Tell us more about that.
Yeah, certainly. So we have properties all over Ontario. In fact, we have over 3,000 units in our program, and investors over the years, they've been able to buy a unit from us. And technically, we are the actual tenant to that owner. So in other words, we sign the lease with the owner. No matter what, we make sure you get your rent every single month. But the most important thing about our program is that every single investor never has to deal with a tenant. That day-to-day mundane part of it, trying to collect rent, trying to fix things, our staff does it all. So it's complete hands-off ownership, but most importantly, the actual owner themselves, they benefit because they get rent every single month, and as the value goes up, they're the ones that realize the extra money.
Okay, so a hassle-free investment for people who are keen on investing in real estate?
Well, Shelley, this is one of the things that when you and I take a look at what's happened over the last decade, how important has a roof over everybody's head? We've got huge immigration, coming into Canada. Most people have to rent when they first land here. The most important thing is that we need rental inventory. And the thing is that it's getting harder and harder to find. So when investors own investment real estate, it's for the long term. It's not that speculative play. So for us at The Simple Investor, the most important thing we try to do is create create generational wealth. Let's help out the next generation. Let's give everybody some financial security. And I'll tell you, going through COVID, this is one of the big things that we learned was how important it was for people to have that financial security going through those really tough times. And, for us, we've been able to see it firsthand, and our investors had benefited. And today, as we come out of all of this, we still see how important, having a roof over everybody's head is.
You just spoke about financial security. So let's dig in more on financial security. You meet a lot of people who want to invest their money. You're a motivational speaker. You meet a lot of people who want to seek your expertise in that field. So for those who are watching us right now and they want to understand, how can I be fit, both financially, physically? So let's talk about that. Give us your tips.
That's great. I love that question, and thanks for that, because I can tell you that so many people, they get caught up in the rat race. They turn around and they're always looking for the next quick answer. And you know what? In life, there's never quick answers. If you're talking about your physical health, it takes time. It's funny because, every January, everybody turns around and says, oh, I want to lose that 20 pounds. Well, it took you at least a year to put it on, so it's probably going to take a year to take it off. So there's no quick results in anything. And when we take a look at your financial security, it's the same thing. There's no quick fix to financial security. It's one of those things that you need to take a few years to think about, plan out. And when you take financial risks, it's better to be informed about them. It's not just a quick buck scheme. It's just not the, let's pay for this program and we're going to get rich. It's one of those things that, you sometimes have to push yourself out of your comfort zone, but not so much that you're going to risk your financial security with your family. So at The Simple Investor, one of the things that we did was we created a very low in approach, meaning that you don't have to buy expensive real estate to make it benefit. And this is where a lot of people make that error, is that, they want the shiniest property out there, but that's not always the best one for them or their family. Always start slow, get comfortable, make sure it works for you. Make sure you've got a strong team. You mentioned about, both health and well-being. Well, get the right coaches in place. I think that the more knowledge you have, the better you'll succeed in life.
Absolutely, and this is coming from a place of in-depth knowledge and exposure, experience. Let us take you back to the days when you started your journey. What got you started with real estate industry?
Well, it was amazing because when I was very young, I started a contract company and I started doing renovations, and then I started working for realtors who wanted to have a property fixed up before it went on the market. And I started taking a look at how important real estate was at a very young age. And then I realized that, hey, listen, you know what? If you buy properties and you fix them up, you can turn them into rental properties. And if you can get somebody else to pay down your debt, isn't that a great thing? I mean, if somebody came to you right now and said, hey, let me pay off your credit card, you'd say, hey, that's wonderful. Well, in investment real estate, it's, hey, let have somebody else pay off your mortgage. Well, I love that idea. Now, of course, mortgages take a little bit longer. So that's why you need patience in this world. And so when I got started in the early days, I had to learn patience. I'm going to tell you, it took a little bit of time, a little bit of experience, realizing that, maybe I should hang on to things a little bit longer. I tell my investors one story that in the early days, I was able to buy some properties from builders, and somebody offered me a quick dollar to return, and flip it. So, you make $20 or $30 or $40,000 at the time on a property. He said, wow, look at me go. Today, those properties that I paid $200,000 for would be worth $2.5 million. So had I held on to them, then it would have been a completely different scenario. And this is one of the things that we need to encourage everyone. And it's not just money, it's about security. And again, this is one of those things that I learned watching people over time, working with clients, seeing the experience of life, seeing the ups and downs of markets. We just went through a market that kind of was a little bit topsy-turvy for the last year. Patience is key. All real estate investors have to be patient, just as in life. There always is light at the end of a tunnel. You just have to wait and see how long that tunnel is.
And what if this journey is tiring me out and I'm unable to reach to that end where the light is waiting for me? What do you say to these people?
Well, you know, and it's a very, very good point. So here's the question I have to ask everybody. Are you a first-time home buyer that you want to live in it, or could you be a first-time investor? And one of the things that we've learned is that a lot of people don't necessarily want the maintenance of a home, right? They don't want to have to do the day-to-day. So what they do is they end up renting. But that doesn't mean you shouldn't become, let's say, a real estate owner / investor. So one of the things that you can do, you can benefit from real estate investment to then later buy yourself a home. So I've got some young investors. They started very young with us, about 18, 20 years of age. One of my investors started at 18 years of age. He is now 10 years in as an investor. He just bought his first house by refinancing his investment properties to come up with his down payment. So there's always a way. Math does work. Numbers don't lie. So there is hope for people. Now, right now, we know interest rates are putting a lot of pressure on people, so it's a little bit harder. But you know what? One of the things we know is that interest rates will come down. It's just a matter of time. It's not if, it's when. So for us, it's one of those things that, you know what? It's okay to just sit back for a little bit. When the time is right, it will be there for you. There's other opportunities. If you always want to buy and live in Boardwalk or Park Place in the game of Monopoly, I always tell people, it's better for you to turn around and maybe go to the outer markets, buy something a little less expensive, maybe something you could do a little bit of work in, and then you'll gain the appreciation. So I agree with you. There's a lot of people that are frustrated. There's definitely some advice out there for those people.
Now that's a fresh perspective. Do you want to be a first-time home buyer or a first-time investor? Thank you for saying this and sharing your knowledge with us. Now I'm sure people want to know more about your upcoming plans at The Simple Investor. Please share those with us.
Well, I'm really excited, you know, with our new head office here. People can go to thesimpleinvestor.com to find out more. We do have some great projects coming up in the near future. They are in the outer markets, both in Eastern Ontario and Western Ontario. So if there's an opportunity that comes out, just go to register at thesimpleinvestor.com. We'll make sure you know about our latest release. And Shelley, it's been a real pleasure chatting with you today. It's great, you know, having the ability to talk to some of your listeners.
Right. And before I let you go, what is the tip that you would like to share with our audience?
One final tip. You know what? I'm going to tell you, do your due diligence. Make sure you've got your team built up. So make sure you've got a good, you know, and this is for if you're buying your own primary residence or if you're going to be a real estate investor. You know, make sure you've got a good real estate broker. Okay, make sure you've got a good financial mortgage broker, and make sure you've got everything ready. So when the opportunity arrives, you're ready to jump on it.
Thank you so much for talking to us. I appreciate your time and knowledge.
Thank you so much, Shelley. It's been a real pleasure.
The news and views continue on Y Media Group. You stay tuned with us.